Okay, let's just dive straight into this explainer by addressing a massive elephant in the room when it comes to the rapidly changing world of AI assisted software development. We spend so much time talking about the shiny new tools themselves, but honestly, the real story is how our day to day workflow is literally being rewired from the ground up, and how we have to adapt if we want to keep up. Surveys from through 2025 and into early 2026 are showing us a pretty stark reality. AI tool usage among professional developers is sitting at a massive 90%. Basically, adoption is completely saturated. Almost everyone in the industry is using these systems to write code right now. Now, you probably think that means we've achieved some kind of engineering nirvana, right? Well, here's the crazy part. Despite that near universal adoption, developer trust in AI output has absolutely plummeted. We're talking a drop from over 70% positive sentiment just a few years ago down to a mere 29% today. So why the huge drop? The number one cited frustration is what people in the industry are calling almost right code. You know the kind. It looks absolutely perfect at a glance, but it hides these incredibly subtle flaws that end up being super expensive and time-consuming to actually track down and fix. To fix this trust paradox, we really can't just be passive users anymore. We need a structured approach. So here is our roadmap for today. First, we'll look at the new coding reality. Second, what is vibe coding? Third, what is agentic coding? Fourth, vibe versus agentic coding. And finally, your AI career roadmap. Mastering both of these workflows is absolutely crucial to thriving right now. Let's start with section 1, the new coding reality, where writing is easy, but reviewing is hard. We really have to fundamentally shift our mindset here, because actually writing the code is no longer the bottleneck. Independent analysis repeatedly finds that pull requests authored by AI have materially higher rates of logic and security errors compared to human-written ones. Generating the code? That's trivial now, but verifying it? That is hard. Human review is without a doubt the most critical and the most scarce skill in the entire pipeline today. Which takes us directly into section 2, what is vibe coding? Turn-by-turn control. So let's define this first major framework. It's actually incredibly beginner-friendly. Vibe coding is a very conversational style of development. You just describe what you want in natural language, the AI suggests the code, and you stay in complete control of every single edit. The golden rule here is that absolutely nothing reaches your codebase unread. Think of it like accelerated pair programming. You're watching the code get built line by line, but you are always the one pressing accept. This whole framework relies on a continuous, highly iterative loop. Step 1, you state the intent. Name the framework, edge cases, the data shape. Step 2, you read the output critically, keeping a close eye on any assumptions the model might have made. Step 3, you correct it through conversation rather than just rewriting it from scratch. And step 4, verify by actually running it. You are in the loop on every single turn. This is exactly how you catch those dangerous, almost right mistakes before they cause any real damage. Now, let's see how this builds into the heavyweight, enterprise-level counterpart in Section 3. What is agentic coding? Goal-driven execution. You can instantly contrast vibe coding with this definition. Agentic coding is where an AI system receives a broader goal and the actual authority to pursue it autonomously. It is not going to ask for your permission at every single step. We're shifting from generation, like just answering a question, to full-blown execution, actually completing a task. It's honestly a lot like delegating work to a brilliant but reckless intern who somehow has commit access to your repository. The agentic workflow operates pretty differently. Step 1 is planning, where the agent turns your overarching goal into a task list. Step 2 is context gathering, so it searches your repo to learn existing patterns. Step 3 is acting through tools, where the agent is actually editing files and running terminal commands on its own. And finally, observing and reporting, where it reads test results and decides what to do next. Notice how your role changes completely here. You are no longer in the loop at every keystroke. Instead, you're on the loop, stepping in just to review the final diff. So let's pit these two directly against each other and clear up the myth that they're competing camps. Section 4, Vibe versus Agentic Coding, the big breakdown. The absolute essence of the difference between these two frameworks comes down to this one concept. With vibe coding, it's human-led. You are actively in the loop on every single turn. But with agentic coding, it's goal-led. You're on the loop, just periodically reviewing the outcomes of its autonomous actions. Knowing exactly when to use each approach is a total game changer. Vibe coding is super fast per snippet, has a gentle learning curve, and debugging is easy because, well, you were there when the code was written. It's absolutely perfect for ambiguous problems, unfamiliar syntax, or trying out new UI work.
Agentic coding, on the other hand, is fast per task. It can run completely unattended, but it definitely has a steeper learning curve because you have to design strict testing and sandbox permissions. Debugging is also a lot harder since you have to essentially reverse engineer the agent's logic. So you're going to want to use agents for mechanical, large-scale tasks like repo-wide refactors or generating massive test coverage.
Finally, let's synthesize all of this into an actionable sequence for your career in Section 5, your AI career roadmap. Because remember, it is not a choice of either or, it is very much first this, then that. I want to speak directly to wherever you might be in your career stage right now. If you're a student or a beginner, you absolutely must start heavily with vibe coding. You have to build those core mental models by watching code appear and actually understanding why it's there. You should only move to Agentic when you can confidently read a 200-line diff and spot the errors yourself. For all the freelancers out there, stick to vibe coding to protect your reputation when dealing with vague client specs, and only use agents when you have repeatable templates and tests you trust completely. And for enterprise devs, you're going to run both, but only under strict governance and approved CI gates. The ultimate takeaway here is that autonomy is only valuable if you can evaluate it. Everyone has to start with vibe coding to build that baseline judgment. To really succeed, you are going to need these specific skills: precise technical communication so you can state requirements unambiguously; code reading, which, as we discussed, is far more important now than writing. You still need deep programming fundamentals because without them, you literally can't evaluate what the AI hands you. You need serious testing discipline, since tests are the only feedback an agent actually gets. You also need security awareness, like knowing the OWASP top 10 to prevent things like prompt injection. And finally, governance literacy. Mastering these specific skills, rather than just calling yourself an AI user, is exactly what captures that documented 20 to 40% compensation premium we're seeing for generative and agentic specialization in today's market. As we zoom out and look at the big picture, remember this: the hybrid workflow has won, both deliberately. Multiple surveys from 2026 clearly show that the most successful, high-leverage developers out there are running 2 or 3 tools simultaneously. They use a conversational assistant for the deep, creative thinking and novel logic, and then they delegate to an agent for the tedious scaffolding and wide-scale migrations. They don't pick sides, they just build the judgment required to switch seamlessly between them. So I want to leave you with one final provocative challenge. Engineering is shifting incredibly fast from just producing code to specifying, supervising, and validating it. In this new era, will you simply code, or will you review? Are you truly ready to supervise the intern with commit access? Because it is time to redefine your role from a code producer to a code validator. That is where the future of software development is already happening.